may not have a lot of impact, but it may be very common, very numerous. The best data on global endangerment are located in the IUCN Red List of threatened species. All species placed into one of 9 categories there. The 3 primary categories are critically endangered, endangered, and vulnerable. To date, only 2.5% of species evaluated total, and only 41% are considered endangered. And here is a table that shows the criteria used by the IUCN Red List. And here is part 2 of that. Again, looking at species and how to classify them for the Red List. So what group are endangered? If you look here, what does it tell you? Look at the number of insects. 950,000 described, 771 evaluated, percent threatened 73%, 86% of mosses, 100% of lichens, 46% of fish, crustaceans 86%. Some globally threatened processes. Some dramatic phenomenon may disappear. For example, large-scale migrations. Many species will not be able to shift due to northern climates as climates change due to barriers such as city roads and other large barriers that are human, as well as others that are natural barriers. Others are not as mobile and will perish in place as climates change and sea levels rise. Some factors that threaten biodiversity are those listed in the Red List. The knowledge varies tremendously and by taxonomic group and habitat, so we don't know enough about some groups and habitats. Most face multiple threats, and threats can act synergistically. The current pattern of global endangerment is the overexploitation being a major cause of fisheries depletion. So you can see here, habitat loss and degradation across the board is definitely a huge impactor, but you can also see overexploitation, invasive species, disease, pollution, and intrinsic factors. So what are our species most at risk worldwide? Where are they? Not all biomes and their inhabitants are equally at risk. Most tropical habitats and grasslands have large, substantial numbers of threatened vertebrates. So here it's showing you tropics, how much more they are endangered. And then it does show some in montane grassland and shrubland. And then again, tropics, desert and xeric shrubland, and mangroves. Geographically, there are very high numbers in South America, Southeast Asia, Sub-Saharan Africa, Oceania, and North America. The U.S. is second to Ecuador for the number of species thought to be at risk of extinction globally. Many plants, more than 5,000 species. Freshwater species such as mussels, over 70%. Crayfish and stoneflies. The proportion of species threatened in the U.S., freshwater mussels, at least 70%. Crayfish, stoneflies, fishes, amphibians. So huge numbers of aquatic species are threatened. Here is the table on threats in the U.S. and again, habitat and loss and degradation tops the list. And then you see overexploitation, invasive species, pollution, and disease. Urbanization is a correlative cause of many of these factors. In other countries, they lack solid data on what and how many species are actually in trouble. Some countries have a high proportion of the flora and fauna at risk. For example, Madagascar, 80% of plants and 30% of vertebrates are impacted. And here's the countries by the greatest overall numbers of red-listed species. And you can see the U.S. is number 2 on the list, Ecuador being ahead of us. So what species are most vulnerable? We have determined that there are suites of characteristics that make some species more vulnerable. Some have large range requirements, some have a narrow habitat range, are rare, have low productive rates, extreme specialization, or they are dependent on other species that they co-evolved with. Many species, especially tropical, have narrow environmental ranges and highly specialized diets or habitats. Perturbations can easily disturb them. Specialization or other species can be precarious as well. Top carnivores with low densities, large ranges, large body size are often cited as being vulnerable to habitat degradation as well as overexploitation. For marine animals, body size itself does not appear to be a problem, but is associated with another factor, a low reproductive rate. Why might a species be rare? Consider the range, the habitat breadth, and its abundance. How might each influence vulnerability? How might they interact? Here's a table that kind of shows you where big cats would be, or island species. So population size versus habitat specificity has a lot to do with whether they're endangered or not. And here are some other examples. Let's consider the case of extreme endemism in Ecuador. During an inventory, 90 endemic plant species were discovered. Immediately following the inventory, the entire ridge was cleared for agriculture. Island communities have high rates of endemism, although communities may be less rich than comparable mainland sites. However, they are much more likely to lose species because there is no immigration or source of replacement individuals once they are lost. Economic growth and rising affluence drives habitat conversion and overexploitation. Unfortunately, the U.S. areas of high endemism enrichment are areas of high human growth, like Texas, California, and Florida. Billions live in poverty. As a result, unsustainable levels of burning, small-scale agriculture, and grazing and bushmeat hunting occur where you need those to survive. Conservationists and developers agree where solutions need to come from science, from technological improvement, from legal and institutional instruments, from economic incentive and plans, and social interventions. Solutions will include establishing protected areas, targeted interventions, restoration of damaged ecosystems, recovery of endangered species, and creation of sustainable forms of development. Single species approaches will not be enough to conserve biodiversity. Larger spatial scales are going to be needed. However, many conservation actions are achieved at smaller scales, that is, the local. Need to prioritize and plan at larger scales, consisting of local partners. Conservationists are generally asking where questions to set geographical priorities and how questions about developing and implementing strategies to conserve conservation targets at priority places. One major tool for conservationists are U.S. laws and international agreements. The first step is identifying a trend. The second step is to determine what factors most influence trends. Finally, establishing a plan to remove or eliminate the identified threats. And as easy as that may sound, none of these steps are as easy as they appear, and the further along, the more external factors enter the process. In addition to developing a plan for a single species, it is important to track status trends to determine success. The Red List Index tallies changes in status due to either a deterioration or improvement of all threatened species. Unfortunately, most species groups are too poorly known to adequately evaluate trends. However, there are a number of indices attempting to bridge these gaps. The IBI, Index of Biotic Integrity, LPI, Living Planet Index, and population change of 1,100 terrestrial, marine, and freshwater vertebrate species. It is not enough to determine where changes are occurring and be reactive, but rather perhaps we can use information to generate predictive models of what species or systems may be more vulnerable than others and be proactive instead. In the end, it is essential we better understand the factors that drive human behavior, which ultimately drive the causes of biodiversity loss. Here are some references that may be helpful.